So Jenni, I read recently a survey that said that 42% of all employees are actively looking for another job. And I know that at Warrigal, you've just done your culture survey and had a 100% completion rate. So I'm guessing not all of your employees are looking for another job.
No, they are not.
Welcome to Community Matters, the podcast that explores issues that are important in the community with people who are making a difference. And today I'm joined by Jenni Hutchins. I don't know how to describe Jenni. A friend, a colleague, an inspiration, a soul sister, I think. And Jenni is the CEO of Warrigal, a wonderful aged care provider on the east coast of New South Wales. Welcome, Jenni.
Thank you.
And what's remarkable about your culture returns really is that it's not a small organisation, is it?
No.
How many staff do you have?
About 2,500, yeah. And we got a 100% return rate in our engagement survey across the organisation. Yeah, we were very proud.
And why do you think, why was it important to you to get 100%? Not just so that you were the best.
Yeah, we're not competitive at all, really. So why it's important is I think the voice of the employee is important. People want to come to work, put up their hand and say, I want to be here today. I love what I do and I love to work here at Warrigal. And we've got a dual responsibility with our employee and us as an employer to create the environment in which we want to be and create the environment we want to see. So how do we do that? And that's where I start with an employee engagement survey. And I will say proudly, we got a 100% return rate. Last year we got 98% return rate. And I was like, oh gosh, we were so close. And this year we got 100%. We did break Australian records and we were deeply proud of that. Last year we broke records at 98%. And our survey provider is incredibly shocked that we got 100%. It requires a volume of work to do that, but it's an important volume of work. And it's not one person. So we don't congratulate one person. It's all of us leaning in to achieve that result. And we're wandering around our homes and our sites to ask people to fill in the survey. And not just because we want them to fill it in, but we want to hear their voice, what matters to them. And I do say to people, I want to hear the good, the bad, and the ugly, because as an organisation, we're always on a continuous improvement journey. And how do we create the environment we want to see? And then how do we work in partnership, in tandem with our employees to create that environment? So every day they walk in and say, I want to be here. Because when that happens, that's when the music happens. That's when the aha happens. And our residents and our clients see that. So what we know about culture from 5,463 royal commissions, a slight exaggeration there, is that when you've got a positive culture, you are safeguarding your end user, particularly where they're vulnerable. We heard that in the Royal Commission into Institutional Responses to Child Sexual Assault. We heard that in the Aged Care Royal Commission. You know, we heard it in the Banking Royal Commission. It is so important that you have a culture that values your values, that aligns people to the North Star. And our North Star is a world where older people feel known, loved and connected. And to do that, our employees need to feel known, loved and connected. And to do that, we need to understand what our employees want. And that is cool, to understand what your employees want. Now, you can have your say and not your way, and I say that to employees as well. We look at it from a cohort perspective, then we divide it and look at it from a role perspective, from a team perspective. We look at it for our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander staff. We look at it for our LGBTI staff and look at how can we do this better. so that we actually have a predictable staffing cohort. Because what does that mean? It's a better outcome for our older people. And our older people know who's providing their care and enabling them to feel known, loved and connected. I can talk about this all day. I am so sorry, but it is very exciting work and we are proud.
It's my privilege to be a member of the board of Warrigal. And I think the thing I am most proud about Warrigal is our vision.
Yeah.
I think it is the most beautiful vision, and a vision that any staff member can wrap their head around and be proud to work towards.
I know. Do you know what I love about the vision is how we created it? And that was working with our people. And testing that with our people and our residents and our customers. And we wanted a North Star where we could feel it and see it. And it's only 2 years old, but it landed and resonated and it had this ripple effect. We talk about it all the time. It's part of our decision-making tool about does this create a world where older people feel known, loved and connected. It's just beautiful. Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? The word loved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can I talk about that?
Yes, because it does create some controversy, doesn't it, amongst our sector about whether it's appropriate.
Yeah, that's right.
So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
And so you used the word love, didn't you? I'd love to hear that.
Yes.
And that's the thing, isn't it? We use it when we look at the ocean and go, oh, I love that view. We look at our home and we go, oh, I love my home. Why can't we say that at work? There's been some rich work done around professional love. And when I wandered off to do a Churchill Fellowship, one of the things that I learnt about was professional love and how you think about that. And when you think about anybody in the continuum of ageing, whether it's little people or older people, the inside of us doesn't change. Our age does, but actually our needs don't, whether you're little or you're older. And we all want to feel known, loved and connected. And when you hear residents and their families and say, I love the staff here. I had someone stand up at one of our homes and say, when they were transitioning into the organisation, when this home was transitioning into our organisation, Jenni, what are you going to do about the staff? Because we love them here. And I said to him, and I think it's really important that you tell them that, because they love you too. And we want our staff to stay. And I would love you to help me share that message. And he did. And so that important thing about using language that is universal, I think, is important. So we're using it in a way that's not controversial, but actually respects and values what people innately need.
Yeah, it is very beautiful. So then how does culture, do you think, contribute to achieving that vision? Why is the culture important in making people feel known, loved and connected?
Yes. So I think culture is a word that is used a lot, and then it's really important to unpack what is culture and what is culture to you and what is culture to your colleagues, and then how do we find the unifying links. And for me, culture is a shared set of values, a shared identity, a shared passion and vision and purpose. And so we're unifying those elements to go, what's our shared purpose? What do we share here in terms of our values? How do we understand those values? Values can be words on a wall. They can be words on a piece of paper and dumped in your top drawer.
Yes, you can pretty much go in anywhere and find integrity, honesty.
That's right. But then how do you use them? How do you talk about them? How to use them in your decision-making? How are they the foundation of your ethical framework for your thinking and decision-making? When I walk down the street or I'm in one of our homes roaming around, how do they see me working with our values framework? And that's what I want. I want to be able to tangibly see it. So is it in the conversations we have with each other? Is it in how we approach our older people in the homes or in the community? Are our values in how we make our decisions and how we engage and connect with all of our stakeholders, be it our families, our older people, each other? And that is the cornerstone of culture for me. So when people see me, they can say, "Hi, Jenni, how are you?" And I want to hear from them, and they know that. So you've got you're approachable, you're connected. I wander around Warrigal Central every day, and we're not talking about work when I'm wandering around. I want to know about babies. I want to know about children. I want to know about holidays. I want to share a funny story. We talk about clothing. I have no idea why, really. And so it's this kind of joy that you create that you want to harness so that when people walk in every day, they say, "I want to be here." And I feel valued and I feel connected. I feel known. I feel loved. I feel connected. I've got a CEO policy at work because I'm a big dag. And the CEO policy is there is no baby or child that can come into this office unless I get first cuddle. And I swear it's a policy. People knock on my door. "Jenni, I'm bringing my baby in today." "Good. Can I interrupt you?" Absolutely. Any meeting can be interrupted for that baby because I want people to know that who stands behind them and with them matters and that they matter to us. So I get to hold all these babies at work and I love it. I just love it. And I love the fact how people love it as well. They can put in my diary, "You've got a baby cuddle." And sometimes I think, I can hear a child. And so I go, "I smell a child." And then I get to have these beautiful conversations about family because we're all going to age and our family stays wrapped around us. And I want people to know they matter and their family matters. And that means they want to stay here at Warrigal. You know, our turnover is 6%. And
which is remarkable in that sector.
Yeah. I think in COVID it was 46%. So our turnover has dropped. And that gives predictability for our older people so they know who's walking in their door. "Hi, Jenni, how's your family?" "Hi, Jenni, have you seen your daughter recently?" So our staff deeply know our older people, and that gives a better care experience for our older people. They have to be vulnerable with our staff. You know, they need support with, you know, really intimate details of their life. They want predictability there. It helps them feel safe, but it helps them feel known, loved and connected.
Now, as I said, Warrigal's quite a large organisation. You have a number of different facilities. They're quite dispersed, aren't they? Quite spread out across the eastern seaboard and over into the ACT. So how do you know that those same values, those same practices, that same culture is alive in all of those different facilities?
Yeah. Tricky, isn't it?
Yeah. Because what a leader, individual leaders in each of those facilities can generate quite a different culture.
They can. And I do think it's a layered approach. The first thing I would say is what you walk past, you accept. And I know a number of people say that. So if you walk past something that you don't like, then you actually need to address it. Where I start is at induction, and often if I see induction at Warrigal Central, I stick my face in the glass and go, "Can I come in?" And I will talk about culture. I will talk about who we are, what we stand for. I talk about our values. I talk about the importance of our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. I want people to come in and know, understand and respect diversity and respect our First Nations people. And I start there and set that foundation from the start about our values and how that sits within our organisation. I also try and close the gap with me. that this is who I am. I'm wandering around all the time. Please stop me and say hello. Tell me about what you've learnt at Warrigal. Tell me where you think we can do it better with your new eyes in our organisation, because I would love to hear it. And tell me, I speak about a shout out and shout up culture. It comes back to safeguarding. Safeguarding frameworks are critically important in an organisation so that we know you have the framework in place to protect your end user, who in our case is very vulnerable. So we put those markers in the sand to say these are the elements of a safeguarding framework, and one of them is a shout out and shout up culture. So if you see something, say something. If somebody didn't listen, speak to the next person. If they don't listen, speak to the next person. If you like, come to me. But we want to hear what you have to say if you are worried about our older people. And when it comes to our management and our leadership team, we have leadership striatas. So we have a leaders group and we have a senior leaders group. We built in training. We did a leadership course, and I'm a devotee of adaptive leadership, so the Heifetz model of leadership, which comes out of Harvard. I'm a psychologist by trade, so that's why I've got both a twinkle in my eye and a twitch in my eye, because I absolutely believe in the heart and head leadership model. If you don't deal with the emotional stuff first, you never get to good transactional decision making, because that's the hard stuff where you're making hard decisions. But actually, you have to work with the hard stuff first. What does this mean and why? How do we work through this together? How do we join together in having robust conversations to make critical decisions in a really effective and process-driven way? So we've trained our people and worked with our people on a leadership framework so that that leadership framework leads to a positive culture and positive engagement. But if it's not working, we need to hear about it. And that's where the culture engagement survey comes in, because we can look at it across the organisation, look at the highs and lows. And it's not about a stick and it's not about a blame. It's about, we've got some opportunity for change here. And that's what we focus on.
And you talked about safeguarding, and I know it's something that's very important to you.
It is.
I mean, before you were in aged care, you spent a lot of time working, yes, with young people, and they are the two probably most vulnerable, or people with disability as well, the most vulnerable groups in our society. How do you think? I mean, we've seen royal commissions you mentioned before in all of those areas: ageing, disability, and children. Where are we going wrong? Where are so many organisations going wrong? If Warrigal's imposed this shout out, shout up, this really thought out culture, where are we going wrong as a society then, that we're not keeping people safe?
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I have so many views on this, and I think this is another podcast in itself, because all of us must stand up for the safeguarding of children and older people, anybody in our community who is vulnerable. We cannot be a silent or passive bystander, and that's where we need to engage. So at a community level, I think it's really important that we give that permission. And I think there's a fear at times in the community about that's not my job, that's not my business, that's a family issue. It's not. It's a safety issue, and our children need to know that they're growing up in a community, and that community, anywhere they look, they're there to be protected and safe. And the same with older people. As I said, it's the same person inside, whether you're 5, 50 or 85. And it's our job to say, as a community, whether you're 5, 50 or 85, you matter to me and you matter to this community, and we are going to protect you. At an organisational level, I think it starts at the board level. I think the board must set the tone for culture. And if they don't, what you see is a ripple effect across the organisation, because it affects every other person in the organisation. If you don't have a CEO that's standing up and believing in culture and the culture that they want to see across the organisation, because they're not having that experience, and that has a ripple effect across the organisation, and you don't want that. You must have a recruitment strategy that actually asks those difficult questions and gives scenarios and tests views on how they think about safeguarding. So you've also got the probity checking and processes that must be in place. You must have policies, you must have those open door processes, but there's so much to do here. I'm a passionate devotee for little people on protective behaviours, and I used to instill that in any little person that walked past me, because I passionately believe about giving children the right to talk to other people if they don't feel safe. And so there are skills and tricks and tips for doing that. We can share that. But actually, you can actually use those skills and tips and tricks with older people as well. 5, 55, 85, doesn't matter. You have a right to be safe.
Jenni, as you know, this podcast is called Community Matters, and we ask everybody, who's somebody or in the community that matters to you?
I have so many people that matter to me. I'm like a jumping jack, and this was something that I had to reflect on deeply, and I'm not going to answer the question the way you want me to answer it. I think about who formed me and who created me. I am a relationship person by nature. So relationships form the web or the hammock underneath me, which lifts me to who I am. So I want to say that there have been many relationships that have formed me. Probably the most pivotal, foundational thing that changed my life was the death of my sister. It was just before Christmas. It was a car accident. It was sudden. As a family, we'd never experienced a trauma before, ever. Had no idea. Like, we had seriously no idea how to deal with the trauma. And it was just I'd finished school. I was about to kind of pop into uni, and I was doing a similar to a social work degree. It was absolutely life-changing for me in terms of why relationships matter. And then going in to do a social work degree, and then integrating that into my life and well-being helped me process grief and understand grief. But actually what that does is understand relationships and why they matter, and then how you learn and listen and build you from other people. So by building relationships, you become a better person. And I think she gave me that.
I have to say, you're very, very good at relationships, Jenni.
I try hard.
Yeah, no, you're very, very good at it. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been it's always a beautiful conversation when we get together.
We're soul sisters, Nick.
But thank you for joining us today, and thank you all for tuning in to Community Matters, the podcast where we explore issues that are important in the community with people who are making a difference. Please do like us, share this episode, leave us a review, and tune in next time for more Community Matters.